We have our
all right, you say it.
Anthropology, Primatology, Correspondogy.
None of us are good with the pronouncing, but ladies and gentlemen, Natalia Reagan is back. See her amazing TikTok videos, one of which we aired at the beginning of the show, my dear. We did the one on Bigfoot. We have actually a couple quick questions about that. Comedian, host, writer, monkey chaser, animal expert. You've seen her on Discovery, Star Talk Radio.
Banana.
At GL. Oh, you are so potassium-y today.
Yeah.
Do you find me appealing? No, I saw your funny little tube man, and I thought, well, shit, I need to get in on this action. And I ran and grabbed my banana suit.
By the way,
I'll take it off because I feel like, the gag only goes so far.
I have to tell you, it's alarming that you had that so on the ready.
Truly.
You were able to run off cam, grab it, get back there.
So good.
Yeah, I knew exactly where it was. It gets a lot of play in and out of the bedroom. So,
I have to, oh man, that is my kind of kink. I'll tell you that right now.
Hey,
I
you want to slide a condom down over my head?
Very big, ribbed for her pleasure.
Just a Ziploc bag.
Condom.
Just a big old gallon Ziploc.
Well, goddamn, thank God they made TikTok. Because you, my dear, were tailor-made for TikTok. Fun facts, hilarious. Love all the videos.
Learning something, yeah.
We wanted to do a primate-themed one for the opener of today's show, and we did one that you did a while back about. And you know what? I hate being lied to, but it seems as if that famous Bigfoot footage way back in the day might not have been on the level. Might have been, and you allude to a lot of it in said video, which more focused on the breasts, which I loved. But these guys essentially admitted that their video, at the very least, was quite the hoax, yes?
It's still kind of up for debate. Not all of them have completely admitted it, and there's still people that are diehard believers that is legitimate footage. But there is more stuff coming out about, suits being purchased by certain locals in the area, and therefore it probably was a hoax. So, and I understand why it was iconic. It is the go-to Bigfoot. If you Google Bigfoot footage, you're going to see the Patty or the Patterson-Gimlin film. And when I did Bigfoot Bounty, we actually went to that location, that exact spot, which was pretty wild to see.
No kidding.
And also,
I know, that is just awesome.
It was really cool. But if you think about it, why so chill? Patty was so chill. Like, oh, hey, two dudes on horses. Like, why didn't they chase after her? There's so many questions. So many questions.
Well, and also, I would be concerned if I rented or bought a costume, put it on, and I was walking through the woods, that I would get shot. I don't know that the gag would be worth it, only because my own safety could be in danger.
Right. He died doing what he lived, pissing people off.
I believe it was, and it was a blink and you'll miss it. And it was such like a specific joke that I loved it that it was in a kind of kids movie and 90% of the audience would never get it. But in Elf, Will Ferrell does an impression of the Bigfoot video where there was like an elf sighting in New York. You just sort of see him in the background kind of going like that with his little arm on the side. It just does it exactly like the Bigfoot. And again, completely lost on most of the audience.
They're not cultured like us.
Completely.
Like us squatchers.
Completely. Well, now, all right. So what's the book again that you're reading? We want to. You would know whether or not this society is real.
So I'm reading a book by Lisa Gardner called One Step Too Far. It's a work of fiction, but in a lot of her books, she does a ton of research to make it all seem more plausible. But this particular story is about a woman who searches for missing people. This one takes place in a heavily wooded forest in Washington State, around there. And they are searching for the remains of a man who disappeared 5 years ago. And every year they go out and search for him. And they got someone from the Bigfoot Society, or it's some sort of association of Bigfoot hunters. I think that's what it's called. Because the people who are involved in this group actually know a lot about the database of missing people, because they either think that the missing people could be associated with appearances of Bigfoot, like the two could have something in common. So they want to know about these missing people because it could potentially reveal clues about Bigfoot.
Or that the Bigfoot just fucking killed the human, right?
So for these searches for missing people in this book, they've brought in someone from this Bigfoot club and to have him join them in their search. Is this a real thing?
I have not heard that, but I mean, I would not put it past, perhaps law enforcement or people. I don't, usually it's the other way around, honestly. Usually it's people that are looking for Bigfoot that might want, or in my opinion, should want help from those that are actually doing research in the area because they actually have, a large breadth of information about the past peoples in the area. Also, if they're wildlife researchers, they'll know certain behavior, sounds, things that they might think are Bigfoot, but be like, oh no, that's just a loon, or that's just, a badger, or whatever, they can give kind of more, although usually squatchers are pretty wildlife savvy already, but, perhaps they don't know everything. Like for instance, certain migratory patterns or vocalizations that maybe they're just not super familiar with because they haven't spent every waking moment with said loon,
Yeah.
But I've never heard of researchers using squatchers. But who, I don't know. I look, truth is stranger than fiction sometimes, and vice versa. So maybe this is something they should.
You know
into.
what? As much as our as many episodes as we've had our valued correspondent on, I don't think we've ever put her in the corner with this particular question. So I look at Bigfoots like I look at ghosts. I want to believe. Mm-hmm. I would so much want there to be that. I'm skeptic. My dear, you, more than most, would be able to answer this almost scientifically. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
Just like you, I would like to think that could be out there, but I always say that the probability is directly adjacent to zero. For a large-bodied bipedal hominin to go undetected for this, undetected, I put that in quotes because people say they have seen Bigfoot. But again, as somebody, when I did the Bigfoot show, the $10 million Bigfoot bounty, a lot of the questions were like, okay, well, how do they remain undetected? What is their family structure like? What are their reproductive strategies? Are they, what kind of family groups are they living in? Are they solitary? Why is it just one? And how is he procreating? And how are we hiding bodies? If they are, if they do die, do they bury their dead? How do they exploit their resources? Because some Bigfooters would be like, they run on all fours, but they also walk on two legs. And I would explain why that is highly improbable. Because if you look at non-human primates, you see gorillas and bonobos walking on two legs. You see it, but it's awkward. It's very energetically expensive. And it's not their preferred mode of locomotion usually. And humans, we've all gotten on all fours one time or another and tried to walk around. And when you're kids, sometimes
I get a
adults.
backache for days.
Yeah, not fun. We don't move very quickly. We're not built to be quadrupedal. So, or walking on all fours. So I would try to school them, like, if you want, you kind of gotta, if you want to find Bigfoot, you need to think like a primatologist. Because if Bigfoot in your mind is a new species of primate that we're trying to look for, you need to think about how that would, how they eat, how they reproduce, how they, move around, how they vocalize. But then there are those squatchers that believe that Bigfoot is an interdimensional traveling alien.
I knew it.
Oh, I knew it. With them.
There are those.
And to your point, and the video was fucking hilarious, but you were so right just about how, sorry, primate boobs don't work like that. You just looked at the science of a very small aspect of it to sort of destroy the whole thing right there and then.
Well, it's such a small detail in the scheme of things, right? Because you're looking at this one video, but so what I said in this video is the Patterson Gimlin video, that famous Bigfoot video. It's supposed to be a female. Her name is, they call her Patty, but she's got fur all over her tatas. Now, non-human primates, which gorillas, chimps, bonobos are more closely related genetic relatives, are got fur on their body, but not on their teats. They've got no chesticle hair. Even the males don't have it. The females don't have it. And they only get, so the females only, their breasts swell up when they are lactating. They don't have these pendulous, big, fat surrounding the mammary gland breasts like we do, like humans do. That's unique to humans. And also breasts move, those boobs in Patterson Gimlin, that film, they don't move. They don't sag. They're high. I'm like, if this is a mature female and there's no Victoria's Secret around, gravity, gravity, my
Yeah.
friends. It is an evil, cruel vixen. I hate her, but she exists, and even Bigfoot can't beat gravity.
Although I want every woman to know who's watching this, we're just happy to be there. Okay, we don't care about the gravity as much as I hope you guys seem to care. We're again happy to be there. That is a message to all of you. But I could talk about Bigfoot forever, but you've got some other.
Speaking of something that allegedly existed, dinosaurs.
Not a believer. Apparently doesn't think the dinosaurs happened.
Show me the proof.
You like it every day?
T-Rex, turns out, could have been as smart as modern day monkeys, suggests a wild new study. So in her study, Herculano Huzel.
We never get simple names.
I apologize if I'm mispronouncing.
It's just, but we have a hard time pronouncing
the Bond
things.
Villain.
Yes.
Truly. She estimated that T-Rex had roughly 3 billion cerebral neurons packed into its 343-gram brain, higher than the number found in baboons. What's more, another theropod dinosaur named the Alioramus possessed about 1 billion cerebral neurons in its 73-gram brain, which is on par with a capuchin monkey. It would make these dinosaurs not only giant, but also long-lived and endowed with flexible cognition, and thus even more magnificent predators than previously thought.
Like that part.
Essentially suggesting that the Tyrannosaurus and other theropod dinosaurs were the primates of their time. Herculano Hazul,
Love what you.
the study author, has caused an uproar amongst paleontologists, biologists, and neuroscientists. Her bold claims have been dubbed far-fetched and based on some questionable interpretations of outdated data. She also goes on to say that the T-Rex must have matured fast, lived long enough, over 40 years, and had brains capable of using tools and passing that knowledge on to kin. Theropod dinosaurs in the cognitive realm of tool-using and culture-building modern birds and primates. So here's the issue. Paleobiologist Tess Gallagher tweeted, "Intelligence itself is already a difficult thing to study, let alone study the intelligence of an extinct taxon that is incapable of having its behavior observed. Don't get me wrong, T-Rex is probably smarter than we give it credit for, but tool use capabilities, that's a very big claim to make."
Particularly with their little
My first thought was just like them trying to pick. Just try to pick it up.
Like what kind of tools are we using here?
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, they're probably referring to like corvids using sticks and things, and corvids are very smart, crows and magpies and everything, and ravens in the corvid family. But the idea that a T-Rex or any carnivorous theropod dinosaur is as smart as a capuchin monkey is just terrifying, because I always called capuchins diablitos, and having a pet capuchin is akin to having like a toddler for 30 years that has the brain power and dexterity to choose to make your life a living hell.
So, God, that's as
terrifying.
much of a warning to people as you need right there. Like, oh boy.
But as far as it is a big leap. It is. I could see why the paleontology field is sort of pushing back, because it's hard to test and study intelligence, because intelligence is very relative. What's intelligent, perhaps a capuchin monkey can't do trigonometry, but it could, crack a case of who stole the bananas, or it could get into your home and cause massive havoc, or it can thrive in a forest that we would die in the first 10 minutes we're there, so intelligence is really relative. So as far as gauging how smart or what T-Rex would be doing with that big brain or those, multitude of neurons, that's to be determined. It's hard to say that they were using tools and things of that sort. That's a big, big leap.
Yeah, the emphasis on the word estimates in that article, I feel like.
Sure.
But I want to believe
Well,
so badly.
and I like the critic
Einstein.
who was bringing up the fact that, like, you really need to observe these creatures in order to, like you said, gauge the intelligence. But let's say we were there and able to observe the T-Rex and record all of this and save all of this. But do you actually think, like, it would have been safe to? I don't know. Like, how do you safely?
Well, it's funny. I mean, we do know that
That's a good question.
T-Rex ate herbivores, and we're technically, you know, we're in that food chain. It is kind of. I have friends that dive with great white sharks and all species of sharks, and we know that we're not their preferred food. You know, usually shark attacks are accidental on their end, like, oh, I thought you were a harbor seal, sorry, you know, and they swim off, right?
Amazing shark impression. by the
Sorry,
way.
I love that they apologize.
Uncanny
bad.
great white.
Hang 10. So I don't know what their if they would be like, oh God, another human, gross. Oh, they were clothes, they were perfume. Oh, what is that Axe spray? Oh, get away. You know, like I don't know. It would be actually really funny if a T-Rex actually was quite choosy about their palate. Like, no, I don't, you know, or they preferred certain types of humans, you know, like, oh, you know, a toddler.
Yeah.
Little snackaroonie. They haven't, you know, pickled themselves with alcohol and drugs yet.
Actually,
I don't know.
I'm so fucking safe. Like they ain't never going after me. They will know better.
Chewy Bill.
I love like the whole ongoing theory, and I know it's like still debated, but like that Jack Horner guy that Sam Neill's character was based off of in Jurassic Park, he like set the world aflame like 20, 30 years ago, where he hypothesized that T-Rexes were indeed mostly scavengers. And I like how when in Jurassic Park they bend over backwards to try to show you how the way a T-Rex operates could possibly just go after someone and eat them, where they kind of flip them up in the air and then eat them again and stuff like that. But that he just thought that they would wait because they were so big. They just wait until somebody else got it, sort of scare them, and then eat the carcass because they weren't that fast. And they've got these little knobby things that are insane. I mean, they're hilarious looking.
They were pretty fast. I think, it's funny enough. I the first time I ever rode in a helicopter, there's only been 2 times. The first time was with Jack Horner.
Are you serious?
Yes,
yes. He's like the most famous. He's like the J.D. Salinger paleontologist. I don't know. There's a better example out there, but that's amazing.
He's old school. There's a lot of new folks they're doing great work too that I don't want to discredit or let them, you know. And I can also introduce you to if you want to have some new blood paleontologists on.
Oh,
but yeah,
absolutely.
He is old school, and it was great to be
that's
in
so
this
cool.
helicopter, and we were flying to my friend's ranch called Silvertip. It's at the Montana-Wyoming border in Yellowstone, like on the, you know, kind of the border of Yellowstone, and he was pointing out the different, you know, geological features of the mountains that we were flying over, and like the helicopter was like, oh, let me get in closer, and I'm like, oh God, this is a little too close for comfort, but he's like pointing out the different, you know, layers of rock, and like it was great, and explaining, you know, where he had done work and what was around that area, and it was fantastic.
I
Terrifying,
want your
but
life.
fantastic.
I want your goddamn life. Unfucking believable. I mean,
It was amazing.
You were essentially on a Universal Studios ride.
Yeah.
With the main guy at Jurassic Park.
Bill, if you
the whole time I'm just thinking, oh my God, can I do my best Jeff Goldblum impression? Just being like,
my
awkward
God, I
and
love
weird.
Wearing all black, telling them
probably
nature's
heard
gonna
it
find
before.
a way. Like,
I actually, funny enough too, when I was coming back from Nicaragua after teaching primate field school, I was in line behind Jeff Goldblum to get on a plane, and he was he turned to me and he goes, hi, how's it going?
Oh.
What were you doing? And I was like, oh, I was teaching primate field school. And he's like, okay, cool. That was about it. It was, I nearly died then too. So
well,
I've
again,
had,
when you think about it, his character was more mathematician, so he wouldn't have had the kind of questions that you would want for someone in your trade. Although I have to tell you, from what I recall, the type of women Jeff dated, you are absolutely his type.
yeah.
He likes sort of the statuesque blonde ones with the brains.
Statuesque.
I'll say it. I don't really know what statuesque.
Just put on that banana suit and say hi to him again.
He was actually he just started, now they're married and have, I think, children, plural. But at the time, he'd been like such a swinging bachelor. Now I'm from LA, right? And like he worked at a place or taught at Playhouse West. And there were always these tales of these young women just being like swooning over him. And he was, just kind of that hard to catch bachelor. And he finally, this woman, like he clearly had fallen in love, and they were just coming back from some trip, because I was able to find it. Like, are you kidding? I did my research a couple days later on like Us Weekly. It was like pictures of him and this beautiful lady, because I saw them in Miami. I was coming from Nicaragua. They were coming from like St. Bart's or St. John or something.
Of course they were.
Them frolicking in the sea. And I think she was probably younger than I was. But yeah,
he is a national treasure, and the great thing about Goldblum is he knows he's Goldblum. He really leans into his Goldblumness, like just any interview he does, like this and all these non sequiturs,
all the little isms,
Oh God, he is just wonderful. I'm so jealous, and again,
he's the fly,
and he's the fucking fly. Forget
fly
about
guy.
Ian Malcolm. He's the goddamn fly. He's Brundlefly.
He's what?
It was Brundlefly, right? That was his name, or what he called himself in the movie.
I cannot remember.
We don't.
It's been a long time since I've watched The Fly.
We don't do research.
Yeah. Earth Girls Are Easy. That's another good one. Classic.
I believe that's where he first met Gina Davis, huh? Oh no, wait, I think that was before The Fly or after. I don't know. They've dated for a while. Two statuesque individuals. Yes. Again, I don't really know what it means. I have just a couple quick ones as far as facts about animals we learned in 2022. Mm-hmm. Although in the stuff in this list, I felt like a lot of them we already knew.
You already knew. I looked at it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And the one obviously that stuck out that was also just depressing. Well, there was a couple depressing ones. I'll skip past the loneliest whale in the world. Maybe we'll go back to them, but we do have video. So we knew elephants, and this is so sad that we know elephants mourn.
What?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. I guess we didn't.
I don't know.
It's that I love it when I teach you
That was
something.
very convincing.
Thank you.
The Oscars came out, or the noms came out today. I want to throw you in.
I'm not on them, but thank you.
Remind me to do our SAG-HAG graphic for tomorrow. We can get your take on that. But now they have been observed burying. Now, I bet you're going to say we knew this too. Burying their deceased under foliage. We have video of just overall elephants mourning, because I want to end on a bummer here. But they've also been seen returning multiple times to burial spots to visit the bones. Is any of that new? I think the burying thing to me I thought was a little interesting.
The burying thing I had not heard, but I've heard of, returning to sites. Yes, I had heard that before in the morning. We do know that there are several animals that will mourn their dead. Monkeys will actually carry around their dead infants for a while.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's tough to watch. But yeah, we did know that they mourn, and sort of kind of took, I guess, care of their sick a little bit, and then watched, or saw that their dead loved ones were in a good spot. But yeah, I did not hear about the burying until you sent me that link.
God. So it's very sad, and it's just is this the overall, when you see something like this, is it just sort of make the entire science community, I guess, sort of take a step back and say, as far as consciousness is concerned, overall animal intelligence, we really don't know anything about what these guys perceive, what they feel, what they don't, all that stuff?
There are funny camps in the science world, I think, because, there are some people that don't want to anthropomorphize animals, but I also think that personally, I think it's really species-centric of us to think that it is anthropomorphizing and not vice versa. That they've been doing this for a long time. We might just, because when we say we've discovered, it's not as if they just started doing this behavior. Maybe they did, because we don't know.
Right.
And also another thing to point out too, colonialism. A lot of times we say we discovered this new species. It's like the people who've been living here for centuries have known about this species and this behavior forever. So we didn't discover it. Europeans or maybe Western scientists did. So that's something to take into consideration. But as far as behavior that is considered to be human-like, who's to say what's human-like and what's animal-like that maybe we have either learned from them, or it's just something that is part of being an animal, whether it's mourning, whether it's, taking care of young in a certain way, whether it's tool use. Yeah, I think it's something to consider, because I was having, when P22, our beloved mountain lion,
Oh,
passed away.
yes, we heard about that. That even made it to the East
Yeah.
Coast. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm good friends with Beth Pratt, who was a wonderful. If anybody heard of B22, it was because of Beth's hard work, and Miguel at our Natural History Museum here, and so. But we did this hike. She recreates the hike that P22 did from the Santa Monica Mountains all the way to Griffith Park. He crossed 2 freeways, and we were just talking about that particular idea that just the idea that humans like to think that, oh, animals are like us. It's like, no, maybe perhaps we need to stop and realize that we're not anthropomorphizing. We're just realizing we're more similar than different, and they did it first.
Well, you are so good at analogies and like making tiny brains like myself understand complicated topics, and I just loved your description of capuchins being 30 years of taking care of an infant. What
A smart one.
Yeah, which primates have like again, maybe it's specious of me to say human-like behavior. Maybe we're behaving like that. But have there been ones that have tricked you, surprised you, just done something that blew your mind as far as their overall abilities to figure things out is concerned?
I mean, all the great apes, I think, will continually surprise us in terms of like, wow, dear Lord, they are very smart, and they are very, either caring or loving. I do think that, so people ask me, could there be Planet of the Apes? And I have to tell them, actually, we're living in it because humans are great apes. Literally, we're part of the family Hominidae. But macaque monkeys, there's about 23 different species, depending on who you ask, of macaque monkeys. They are generalists. They're the ones that you see at the temples. They're the ones that you see on Rock of Gibraltar, the Barbary macaques. They're different species, but they're the hot tub monkeys. Those are also macaques. They're the second most widely distributed primate on Earth, humans being the first. And the reason why is they're generalists. They can eat anything. They're like us. They're like trash compactors, right? They're eating, someone's leftover McDonald's. They're eating fruit. They're eating God knows what. They'll eat your toddler. So hide your kids, folks.
Is that for real, though? Is that a problem? No, I was gonna say.
No. I'm just being a jerk. Sorry.
Hey, look, it sounds like Bigfoot could be a murderer, so we don't know.
We don't know.
Hey, humans are murderers. So I like to remind people that,
Yes.
At the core of it, humans are pretty terrible. No, but their macaques are really just resilient creatures. And so I do think that, if the world were to fall to hell in a handbasket, would it fall apart like it kind of has been the last few years, either it's the cephalopods, the octopuses, or the macaques that are going to come and just make it theirs.
Why the cephalopod? I mean, the macaques, that you're making a strong case for that, but why the cephalopods?
Octopuses are so smart.
Oh
my God.
And for the amount of time they live. They only live for like 6-7 years, which blows my mind.
Yeah, and then they usually, they have kids and die. It's like, wow, that sucks,
Yeah.
But they're brilliant, and there's multiple species of octopuses, and they're phenomenal creatures. They have been, their DNA is really unique. I'm not saying that's enough for them to take over, but still, I just think that there's so many different videos that I have loved of watching octopuses sneaking out of their enclosure and into another enclosure, and going back.
Yes.
There's one great video where it had, this octopus pops off the top, goes into another enclosure where there were crabs, eats the crabs, has the wherewithal to be like, oh shit, need to go back to the other enclosure before they get back here. Goes across on the floor into its tank and just sits there like twiddling its, they have arms, not tentacles, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Twiddling their arms, all 8 of them, thinking, I'm fine. No big deal.
Unbelievable. Oh, man. And by the way, if anything is better than your shark impression, it's the octopus. I felt like I was there with the way that you were doing that. That is, well, now I've got a homework assignment to find those videos tonight because any escaping octopus. Well, listen, my dear, we went over as usual. We got to get you on for like an hour next time. It's like half an hour is not long enough. We've got so much to ask you.
I'm in.
But give us your plugs, your promotions. Where can we find you?
Great. So I'm on Twitter at Natalia13Reagan. Same with Instagram, TikTok at Behold Natalia. And I'm in a comedy contest. I'm in the semifinals at Uncle Clyde's Comedy Contest and Flappers on February 15th. So if you're in the LA area, get your tickets.
Go see her immediately. And happy soon-to-be February 15th birthday to our property correspondent, Jonathan Schultz.
Oh,
And
That
my
just
husband.
reminded me to get him. That's right. They share the birthday. I can't believe it. Well, thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Natalia.
Thanks for all that time I'm going to waste looking at octopuses tonight, though. That part I don't know how to do. It's gonna be a wormhole.